Turning now to breaking news from the U.S. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is ending his bid for president and endorsing Donald Trump.
We can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign.
The Florida governor says he will honor his pledge to support the next Republican nominee, calling Trump the superior choice to current U.S. President Joe Biden. DeSantis was once viewed as the main rival to Trump, but has trailed significantly behind the former president in the polls. Meantime, U.S. Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley is taking aim at Donald Trump, questioning the former U.S. president's mental fitness. It comes after he appeared to confuse her with former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi when talking about the January 6th Capitol riots.
You know, Nikki Haley, did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything, deleted and destroyed all of it, because of lots of things, like Nikki Haley is in charge of security.
Trump has accused Pelosi of turning down security he says his administration offered, but a special House committee found no evidence to support that claim. And to talk more about this, joining me now is Stephen Farnsworth, professor of political science at the University of Mary, Washington. Professor, thanks for being here. Let's start with your reaction to this. Were you expecting this from DeSantis?
Yes, it's pretty clear that DeSantis has not had a way forward politically for quite some time. He went from being about 20% in the polls, well behind Donald Trump, to even much further behind Donald Trump, deep into the single digits. There was no real path forward, and it doesn't make sense for a campaign to continue without any hope of success.
How much of a factor do you think the results from last Monday's Iowa caucuses were in this decision?
Well, it was clear that Ron DeSantis had put all of his eggs, so to speak, in Iowa. He had campaigned aggressively in that state for months. He basically moved there as he looked at this one Iowa caucus as the vehicle to give him a boost against Donald Trump. But there was a fundamental problem with the DeSantis campaign that became increasingly clear as he campaigned across Iowa. He simply did not have the ability to aggressively challenge Trump. And without that, all he seemed was like a warmed over Trump. And if people had a choice between Trump light and Trump, they chose Trump.
So what happens now, especially with the New Hampshire primary elections just 2 days away?
Right. The New Hampshire primary is perhaps the last chance that any of the non-Donald Trump supporters in the Republican Party have an opportunity to make a stand. Nikki Haley has been more critical of Donald Trump, particularly over the last several days, talking about his mental fitness for office. But you still have a situation where the polls show Donald Trump way ahead of Nikki Haley. And so this process may very well be over come Wednesday morning.
All throughout his campaign, DeSantis appeared to be Donald Trump's most daunting challenger. So what do you make of him now endorsing Trump?
Well, I think that makes sense because you're looking at a situation where the Republican Party is clearly Donald Trump's party. And anyone who has ambitions of being a candidate in the future, and DeSantis has already toyed with the possibility of 2028, it's going to have to be in the context of being somewhat supportive of Donald Trump. And so the candidates who are really critical of Donald Trump throughout this process, people like former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, they didn't even make it to Iowa. And so the process really does suggest that if you want to succeed in the Republican Party, you have to be on good terms with Donald Trump and his movement.
How big of a boon is this for Trump's campaign?
Well, it seemed to me that Donald Trump was going to be the nominee before Ron DeSantis made a decision one way or the other. But it's no doubt about it, this is really going to create more of an opportunity for Donald Trump to run up the numbers in the states that follow. You have a number of southern states that are coming up in this process, and where Ron DeSantis as governor of Florida would be more strong than he would be in a place like Iowa or New Hampshire.
All right, that is our time. Stephen Farnsworth, political science professor at University of Mary, Washington. Thank you very much for your time today.